I'm passionate about how can I change people's perception on how they need to address behaviour that's putting people's lives at risk. And sometimes this could be actually their own life that's being put at risk when they're not managing behaviour that's not acceptable and in some cases unlawful. It was 10 years ago when I was working with my business partner and saying to her 10 years ago that bullying would bring businesses to its knees. And I became really passionate and driven on how I could impact that. How could I help organisations see that the impact that this insidious disease, as I call it, was having on their workplaces? The difference that I do want to see is that people acknowledging the differences in people, the differences that brings in contribution to the organisation. And what I mean by that is that we're more global than we've ever been in our whole life. So we have a whole different range of people with different ethnicities, different skill sets, different learnings coming into our workplaces. So for me, it's really having that importance about what are those differences and trusting and embracing those differences that they can bring. And sometimes what I see is that when we acknowledge those differences, how we have a much better culture, a much better connection with the people that we work with. One of the things that my father always said to me, everybody's equal. And so that was a really great leveller as a nurse, having a patient in one bed that we just picked up out of the gutter and you've cleaned him up. And next you've got an ex-Prime Minister in the bed next door. Breast cancer diagnosis changed my world. But it also then gave me the opportunity to rethink, where am I, what am I doing, and what is my contribution? Where do I want to be? So moving back home, to my roots, into the regional areas, it gave me an opportunity to work with businesses and help them have an understanding about people's behaviour and the impact of that behaviour when unaddressed. In my work, one of the other areas that I've recognised is actually having a huge impact is the conditioning. And we look at conditioning from two angles. One is the conditioning that young people are bringing into the workplace and the exposure that they've had to sexual harassment, bullying, violence, and they're more risk adverse. So they're coming to the workplace already conditioned to that. But also, we as an older employee within the organisation, we also have our own preconditioned mindset or our own preconditioned perception about what's actually happening within the workplace. So how do we recondition the thinking of the young people that are coming in, but also then recondition the thinking of the behaviour of the older workforce? The one key point that really drives me is that if we don't make change, is that people will continue to die within our workplaces, and that will actually increase on what it is now currently today. I'm committed to making keynotes my objective so that I can speak to greater audiences so that more people will hear the message rather than just a one-on-one audience within a workplace. We can't mince words here. It is for everybody. Everybody in the workplace has a responsibility to managing behaviour of themselves and managing behaviour of their co-worker and their people around them. Chaos is created when trust is broken. It's when we don't embrace the differences that are happening within our workplaces. So we have to strip back and look deep within about what our contribution is and the trust that we're providing, to the people that are around us. Because it will be the fundamental thing that needs to be rebuilt so that workplaces can be a place where people actually want to go to work.